Two fighters step into the ring. Only one walks out with his argument still standing. And the punch that ends it? It isn't loud. It's one tiny word hidden inside a verse that nobody was watching. Here's the setup. There's a famous trap people throw at Muslims online. It's so sneaky it even has a name. They call it the Islamic Dilemma. And the whole point of a dilemma is that both answers are supposed to lose. Heads, you're stuck. Tails, you're stuck. There's no way out. So tonight, we're putting it in a boxing ring. In one corner, the Christian, the one throwing the trap. In the other corner, the Muslim, the one who has to escape it. Ding ding, round one. The Christian comes out fast. He says, your own holy book, the Quran, says God sent the Torah to Moses and the Gospel to Jesus. It calls them light. It calls them guidance. And that part? True. The Quran really does honor those earlier books. Then the Christian swings the big punch. He says, show me one verse, just one, where the Quran says those books got changed. You can't. So if they were never changed, then the Torah and the Gospel sitting in shops today must be perfect and from God. But those books disagree with the Quran, so which is it? Feel the trap? If the Muslim says the old books are perfect, he's arguing against his own Quran. If he says they're broken, the Christian says, then prove it from your book. Heads you lose, tails you lose. The Muslim is up against the ropes. The crowd goes quiet. So what does he do? He doesn't panic. He counters. The Muslim pulls out a verse the Christian forgot about. Surah 2, verse 75. And it talks about a group of people who heard God's words, understood them, and then twisted them on purpose. Not by accident, knowingly. Then he throws a second punch from verse 79, which warns about people who write a book with their own hands and then tell everyone, this came from God, just to make money. Boom. There it is. The Christian said, your book never mentions the old scriptures being changed. But it does. So the first punch lands clean, and the Christian stumbles back. But hold on, because here's where I have to be honest with you. And this is the part most videos skip. Muslim scholars, the smartest ones, the ones who studied this for their whole lives, did not all agree on what changing the scripture means. And that disagreement actually really interesting. One group said the words on the page were physically rewritten, changed ink, changed text. The other group said something different. They said the words mostly stayed the same, but people twisted the meaning. They read it wrong on purpose. Same sentence, sneaky interpretation. So which group was right? Keep that question in your pocket. We're coming back to it, and it changes how hard that last punch hits. Round 3. The Christian is hurt, but he's not done. He tries to grab on and slow the fight down. So the Muslim brings in backup. Old teachers from way back, close to the time of the Prophet Muhammad, who warned people, be careful with these older books. Human hands got involved. The Muslim's point is simple. The Quran is the newest message, the final one, and the one promise God makes about the Quran? This one, He Himself will guard. The Christian is breathing hard now. He needs something big. And in round 4, he thinks he's found it. The Christian grabs a shield. Surah 18, verse 27, and he reads 4 powerful words. None can change His words. Then he grins. He says, there it is. If God's words can never be changed by anyone, then the Torah and the Gospel can never be changed either. They're God's words, so they have to still be perfect. I win. And honestly, for a second, it looks like he might. The crowd leans in. The shield looks solid. The Muslim has been backed into the corner with his own holy book pointed at him. This is the moment. Everyone watching makes the same prediction. They think the Muslim is about to get knocked out by his own scripture. But that's not what happens. The Muslim doesn't punch harder. He does something quieter. He just points. He says, read the verse again, but this time, start at the beginning, because the Christian only read the end. He skipped the front of the sentence, And the front of the sentence says, "Recite what has been revealed to you from the book of your Lord." You, your. Two tiny words, and everything flips. Because who is the you? It's the Prophet Muhammad. And what's the book? It's the Quran. The verse was never a giant rule about every book in history. It was God talking about one specific book. This one, the final one. So the promise, "None can change his words," was a promise about the Quran's protection, not a magic shield around every older scripture. The Christian picked up a shield that was never his to hold. And now, remember that question I told you to keep in your pocket? The two groups of scholars? Here's why it matters. Even the gentle group, the ones who said it was mostly the meaning that got twisted, still agree on the one thing that breaks the trap. Nobody ever promised that the older books would stay perfectly protected the way the Quran was. That promise was only ever made about the Quran. So no matter which group of scholars you side with, the Christian still can't find what he needs. And what he needs is one verse, just one. A verse where the Quran promises the Torah and the Gospel will stay perfect forever. He searches, he flips the pages, and it isn't there. It was never there. The referee steps in. The trap that was supposed to have no escape? It had a door the whole time. And the door was just reading the full sentence instead of half of it. So here's what you actually walk away with tonight. The dilemma was never really about God's words being weak. It was about one fighter reading only half a verse and hoping nobody would check the other half. And that's the thing about a trap. It only